Welcome to Architrave Gaming. I'm the Archmaster. Thank you for dropping by. This is part 2 of our Archenn Court series, where we're telling you what the warrior Archenn Court abilities are and what benefits you get from signing up with any or all of the warrior Archenn Courts. All right, let's get going. And if you don't know what the Archenn Courts are or what I'm talking about, watch part 1. So, the Armiger. The Armiger, Archenn, is the fighter's fighter. He is the weapon master. I'm gonna kill you and kill you good. They wear medium armor. They're not heavy, not light, not super fast, not super heavy. It's just right in the middle. I don't care about my armor. It's medium. What I really do care about is my weapon, right? They're very much the fighter's fighter. So that's the Armiger. What you get for joining the Armiger Archenn Court, again, the building itself would be something like an arena or a gladiator pit or a training hall or something like that, right? You go to the Armiger Archenn Court and they're all just about fighting. I really should have talked about the Skulk and the Wayfinder last time. The Wayfinder would have been like the actual, nomadic ones with like tents and whatnot. The Skulk Archenn Court for the last video would be something like always underground or hidden within other buildings and whatnot. It's not out in the open. It's always hidden, like Batman's lair or the CIA building, always undercover. Anyway, the Armiger, what they actually do, the actual benefits you get from it. You join the Armiger Archenn Court, you sign up, and you get, first of all, boosted saves and AC, right? So it gives you more survivability, because if you know anything about A&A combat, and in the next version of the beta, it's probably going to get even deadlier, actually, because we just had ideas recently about it. Combat's pretty deadly, it's pretty tough, it's pretty hard. Even if you have a mantle, you'll still only have 13 to 20 HP. You really don't have a lot. And weapons can do like 13 damage a hit if they hit you real hard, right? So it's extremely deadly and extremely dangerous. So you sign up to, if the GM doesn't want you to just die at every combat, they can give you the Armiger Archenn Court and be like, hey, sign up here, and they give you boosted AC, boosted saves. In my system, we're working on folding AC into saves, because AC takes an action and making a saving throw takes an action, and they both essentially give you your mod plus proficiency, your bonus and whatnot. We're trying to work that into the same thing, where your defense, your AC, is essentially a saving throw against that attack, where you're trying to block it, right? That's kind of already what we do anyway with active defense. So anyway, that's a sneak peek for later mechanics, trying to simplify things and unify it. You just have your defend action. Anyway, they give you boosted AC and saves and whatnot, kind of like early D&D. I believe 3rd edition did this, and maybe even 4th edition. I'm pretty sure 1st and 2nd and 3rd did this, where 1st, 2nd, and 3rd editions of D&D, where as you gain levels in your fighter class, you get really good saves. Your fortitude, willpower, and dex saves are all really, really good. And that's just kind of the whole thing of the fighters, that you're just super good at saves. We like that idea. We don't think it should be baseline to you if you're just an Armiger, but if you want to go to the Archenn Court and the GM allows it, you can get extra boosted saves and whatnot. Again, the GM is never overpowered by the players. The players never just automatically get stuff because my character sheet says I should. The GM always has the option to allow you to have that amount of power, but the default is that you have very little. That way the GM gets to be the nice guy for giving you extra powers instead of being the mean guy for taking away things. But the second benefit that you may or may not get from the Armiger is static AC. In our system, we have active defense, where you just have 10 AC unless you spend one or more actions to boost that AC. And you can boost your AC up to 20, 25. You can all but guarantee that you don't get hit by something, but that takes a lot of your actions. And now it goes to your turn. You've already spent your actions defending, right? So what the Armiger does is like, no, we want you to be a hero and to go out and kill all the bad guys. You not only get boosted AC, but you get static AC, where you don't have to spend actions to get this AC. Boom. That's juicy, right? That makes things simpler. If the GM or players, like new players or 5e players that just cannot fathom the idea of active defense, if they really, 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 really don't like active defense, then the GM can just be like, all right, cool. There's an Armiger Archenn Court, and they give you, you walk inside and you do the ritual and you get static AC. All right. So that promotes the kind of 3rd edition D&D style of play where fighters get more and more AC and defense and saves, and they just keep on fighting, they keep on persisting, they just keep going, right? It's that vibe, and I like that. That's cool. Shouldn't be default, but it should be an option, and that's what it is. Next, the Brute. The Brute is our barbarian, if you want to call it that, although mechanics are very different, and we're very happy with them, and we're not even done with them, and we're super happy with them. Anyway, the Brute. What the Brute gives you is 4th edition style healing surges, right? You go to the Brute Archenn Court, and You walk in, sign up, you get your boon, you get your blessing, and now when you're out in combat, you might have a certain number equal to your, your level, which is the how many layers of your mantle you have, or you might just get a certain amount based on your favor with the Archenn court, or any number of things. Again, GM will give you a few options, and you decide how many they get. But they have a certain amount of healing surges, and which can also be the same thing as just tanking damage. It's like, you hit me 20 damage, yeah, I didn't take it. I heal immediately, right? Same thing. So that they, the benefit they get is you can have that 4th edition style where you just keep going and you don't have to take an hour-long rest or anything. You're just going, like Diablo, right? You're just going through the dungeon and killing enemies, and as soon as you're done with the combat, boom, you heal your health back up, you keep going, right? That's their whole thing. Next, the Bulwark Archenn Court. This adds in, essentially, what a short rest is for D&D 5e, because we don't have the ridiculously powerful short rest where, we're gonna sit down for an hour and just stare at our wounds, and then boom, we regain HP. What the heck? What does that mean? What happened? Oh, we're patching ourselves up. And does that restore blood loss? Does that mend organs? Your bones are totally fine now because you patched up? No, it makes no sense at all. Short rest makes no sense, which is why, if you want to have a short rest mechanic, which we do, we want it to be available to GMs if they want that kind of play, GMs and players, well, there has to be an in-world immersive diegetic explanation as to what a short rest is, and that you get from the Bulwark Archenn Court. They give you their blessing, their boon, and they say, hey, you have a certain amount of hit dice, or just a certain amount of health in a health pool, and it's mystical, it's magical, right? This isn't supposed to make sense, it's magical. And so when you're out there, it takes an hour, so you can be in a dungeon, and you have to actually hold up in a dungeon and put some spikes on the doors and keep the door closed and whatnot. And if you can rest safely for an hour, then you can, boom, spend this short rest ability. It's a, healing that you get from the Bulwark Archenn Court, and you're healed. The reason why the Bulwark has the short rest thing is because the Bulwark is all about heavy armor. They are the heavy armor knight class. And so the idea of protection, of holding up in a room and protecting it like a fortress and barring the doors so we can heal, that makes more sense. It's all about protection. The Brute is all about shirtless, I want to run into battle, right? That's why they get the healing surge. And the Armature is about tactics and being smart and fighting. That's why they get extra defense, right? We try to make the benefit that you get, even though all three of these essentially do the same thing. They keep you alive and let you adventure longer. They do it differently based on the actual vibes and theme of that Archenn. Something else that the Brute does is they may give you temporary HP, which is, it's essentially like a healing surge, but it's a pre-done healing surge. So that's another option. And for the Bulwark, another option is reserve HP, which is something that we have in A&A. That if you don't know anything about A&A, you don't know what reserve HP is, but it essentially works kind of like a short rest, where during rest, during like an actual long rest, you get to spend reserve HP. But yeah, the whole Bulwark thing is that you only have to spend an hour. You don't have to actually spend the whole night sleeping in order to get this. So all three of these really promote the ability to go dungeon delving and actually have combat after combat after combat. If that's what you want to do in your play group, this is an actual immersive, diegetic, in-world explanation as to why you can do those things. And it's not permanent and static, where the GM is just locked in, where, it's on the character sheet, they're level 17 now, they always have this ability active, there's nothing I can do about it. No, don't worry, it's not World War II all over again. You can give it to them one time, and they go back to get it again, and they say, sorry guys, we're out of blessings, we're out of boons, we don't have any more to give you, right? GM, you don't have to explain yourself, you can just say, they don't give it to you this time, right? Any number of explanations. And again, when we actually make the books, we'll provide you those explanations so you don't have to come up with them on your own. But that's the intention, is that you as the GM are never backed into a corner where you have to give the players a certain amount of power. Never. Their power by default is always very, very low, but you can give them all three of these, where you have static AC and it's really high, and you have healing surges, and you have short rest. You can give them all three Archenn Courts are in town, and they all give you these abilities, and boom, you have all of it. Oh yeah, the Brute Archenn Court, like the building itself, would probably be maybe kind of like a gladiatorial arena thing, but probably just kind of some. I'm thinking of like training dummies and whatnot, but like a giant mechanical training dummy where they're actually like fighting it, like this huge 2-story building that they live on and in, and they have to actually like break open doors and dodge things and fight in order to like move around in the building, because it's all about like brute force. And then for the Bulwark, their buildings, their Archenn Courts, are probably called citadels because they're just big old fortresses, right? That's what bulwark means. It's a wall. We got the idea from playing Fallout 3 recently. We just hopped back in, and we went to the Brotherhood of Steel, and their place was called the Citadel, and they're like, hey, move along, citizen. Leave this to the professionals. Don't go into the DC Metro because they're super mutants over there, and we'll handle it, right? The idea that someone else in the world is actually the hero and they're more powerful than you, and you're just a civilian. You're not supposed to go do that stuff, right? I kind of like that idea where there are these mantlers in part of the Archenn Court, and they're like, hey, we have our big fortress building. We're all heavy armor. We're all here to protect civilization. You're a random commoner. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And of course, you can join them, or you can go out and take care of it yourself, even though you're super weak. But yeah, we like that idea. That's where we got the idea. Anyway, thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing, and feeding the algorithm, and listening to my non-stop rambling about things that I really like about my own game and my own system. Next time, we're on to the King archetype, the Chanter, the Conduit, and the Devout, and the various benefits that they give you. And until then, y'all have a good day. God bless.